Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Live from Poughkeepsie, New York. We are here with two of the biggest players for tonight's bowling matchup between Center Field and the Red Fox Report. It's the executive producer on my left, Gene Barbieri for the Red Fox Report, and Dan Allback to my right, the editor-in-chief of Center Field. We will open this up first for some opening remarks. First, the editor-in-chief, Dan Allback, in preparation for tonight's game.
I'd like to thank the press for making it out tonight. A huge crowd. I'd like to thank Mike Duda for moderating this conference. I'd like to thank Eugene for showing up for once. I respect Gene's game. I think there's a little bit of a false narrative going on that I might be washed. All I'll have to say is we'll show up tonight. I do have some roster announcements. August Lieberman of Center Field will not be playing. He never expressed intent of playing. That was a coach's mistake. In his place, Ben Leeds will be called up from sideline reporting. He will make our 9-man roster. I will also be announcing that Ryan Eicham, the freshman standout, will not be in attendance. He has an undisclosed illness. And instead, Bianca DaCosta, a last-minute substitution, will make the roster. I will take no questions on why those are the substitutions. We have experienced players, we have experienced Wii bowlers, and we are ready to take on whatever competition tonight. Thank you.
With that, I kick it over to the executive producer of the Red Fox Report, Gene Barbieri. Gene?
Again, I'd like to sort of echo some of what my competitor Dan Allback said. Thank you to the press for showing up. You guys, great turnout. Thank you very much to all the media members who are making this possible. Thank you very much, Duda and Dan, for both being here. That being said, there are no updates with my lineup. We will be rolling out the same lineup that we have been prepared to send out. Our very own Samantha Babich is still game to game due to external conflict, that being work. She will be available for Game 2. That being said, our starting lineup will remain the same. We have a pretty solid game plan going in, which I'm sure everyone would love to hear about. I'm sure that we'll talk about that. So thank you again. I'm ready for questions.
And with that, I open up to the floor. We'll start with Mike Burns.
Thanks for showing up, guys. This is a question for both of you. We'll start with Dan. You guys, the Center Field has had a history of being Red Fox Report, just with the basketball game in October, the Jersey Mike sub race, and the free throw contest. Why is tonight no different?
It's a great question. Thank you. Well, I looked at my roster and I noticed one spot missing. That was Ben Leeds. He was instrumental in the basketball game. He was an excellent shot creator, mid-range shooter. He excelled in that field, and I thought, why not? He's an athlete. He can play. He can bowl. He can roll a few balls. They say baseball. He's probably used to that, and it's not balls and strikes. It's just strikes, and we're going to make sure he doesn't miss. And it's important for him to be in the lineup because of that success. So we want that same energy going in. We have the same game plan. It's just a lane. I feel like we have the experience. We have the age, which is something you need in this tournament. You need age, you need veteran players, and we're ready for anything.
Gene, on the flip side of that, you guys are looking to break a winless streak tonight. How are you guys going to go about doing that?
We did have a tough skid of games against Center Field as of late. That basketball game, close one. Aiden Lavin, kudos to him for icing that game with that walk-up three. That was unbelievable. We had a tough showing in Atlantic City in the sandwich building race, Jersey Mike's. We had a tough game in that free throw shooting contest between Ben and William. But overall, we are certainly due, and we've made a lot of changes in preparation for this one. We will not go 0-4. I could tell you that right now. We have been hitting the lab. Nick Sciarrito has been hitting the lab. Sam Babich has hit the lab. They are all ready. They have a lot of cool stuff in their toolkit that they are bringing to the table, so look forward to improvements out of them. I think for us, all we need to do is just beat our man, which is what we anticipate that we will do. We've been working very hard at this, and I do think that we will finally get that first win for the Red Fox Report. It'll be a good one.
All right. Hi. My question is also for both of you. What is your pregame ritual?
It's a great question. I usually think about my life like it was a 2-hour flight. I had nothing, no material planned, no books, just raw dogging the flight. That's how I do. Just think, and I think you need the right mental attitude to face a very emotionally strong team in the Red Fox Report. So I think we'll just ponder tonight on maybe our post-game meal.
Yeah, so for myself, I do have a bit of a pregame ritual. The bus ride up was all zen. I was listening to music the entire time. Alice in Chains on repeat, Nutshell, and then transition that into a little Whiskey Myers. Got to flip the genre, go Broken Window Serenade. So that's the first thing I do. I really clear my head, listen to some good tunes. Then after that, I go straight into knitting. I just worked on this nice new sweater. You know, it's nice to have something completely unrelated from bowling that I can sort of use during my pregame. This is similar with my genre switch when I'm listening to my music. To go from knitting to bowling is something, they're two opposites, you know, and that helps clear my mind because when I'm out there bowling with my team, coaching everyone along, playing, I like to have a nice clear headspace. I had an apple, Granny Smith. If you work in a grocery store, the PLU for that is 4017. If you know, you know. Had a great Granny Smith apple, really juicy. This is my pregame ritual every single time. Alice in Chains, Whiskey Myers, and then I follow that up with a little bit of knitting. Just made that scarf. Follow that up with the apple. I'm ready for the game.
Hey guys, rumor has it that Zach Arth is planning to make an appearance for the loser of the first game. Gene, how do you think that factors into your preparation going into game one?
So for game one, first of all, to Arth, what a phenomenal bowler that guy is. That being said, we will not have him on our team. As you said, he will be going to the loser of the first game. There have been maybe some murmurs of a tank. We will not be participating in anything like that. We are going to go out there, bowl our best guys, bowl our best girls. We're going to go out there and we're going to strike quick and fast, get that first win. Arth should be a non-factor. That is what our hope is leaving the locker room. We want to have it where we have a big enough lead that his average, which is around 220, will be a non-factor. We're going to go out there, strike first, strike hard, go back to the bus with a win.
And Dan, what about you?
There is no tank. I'd like to make that clear. I don't think there's any sort of allegations, at least that I've been aware of on our side. Arth is a phenomenal bowler. He bowled a 299 game last night. When you see that out of a bowler in the Poughkeepsie area, you always love to see that. However, I'm not worried because I'm the closest one here to beating Arth in a single game. I lost to him my first game bowling against him. I am winless against him, that is true, but he's a phenomenal bowler. He will tell you himself I put up a good fight, bowled 6 strikes in a row. I'm not worried. I'm a state champion. State runner-up. I don't want to. That's bad memories. We're not worried about Arth.
Dan touched about it on his opening statement. You called him washed. I'm record calling him washed. Maybe out of his prime. That was a couple weeks ago that you made that statement. Is that still the case ahead of tonight's matchup? And why do you think that?
Yes, I would say so. Thank you. This is a good question. I appreciate you bringing this up. Here's the thing with Dan Allback. He's a competitor. He's a great guy, but everyone falls off at some point. There's no way for you to run perfect throughout your entire career. And here's the thing with Dan is we've met 3 times in conference play as of late. I'm undefeated against Dan despite having an average of about 20 pins less. I have never lost to Dan Allback in a series. I think that will continue to be the case. Look, Dan's a great bowler, like I just said. He's a great guy, got a great group of guys over at center field, but I just don't think he's quite as good as he was when he was running New Hampshire, runner-up state champ. That's cute. I was an honorable mention for All-County, so I know that compares. Actually, I was All-County, Passaic County. So there's a special place on the bench for a water boy like Dan, and I do think that his team is going to need some hydration after we've made them sweat and work. So, yeah, he's washed, and that's all right. He's still great, but he is not what he used to be.
Dan, I'd, of course, like to give you the chance to respond to that if you want.
The game will speak for itself. That's all I have to say.
All right. I would love to hear a little bit more about the locker room atmosphere before the games and how you guys and just your team dynamic and how you feel that's going to help you guys.
Sure. You want to start?
Gene, kick it off.
So we have a great group of guys and girls out there. We just recently had a meeting, all laughs, all smiles. We've got a great bond, great connection, and just being out there having a good time. It's the sort of like leadership in the clubhouse that we have with some of our older guys like Nick Sharito and Sam Babbage sort of leading the way. For those newer guys like Jack Tavares, we really do have that great bond in the locker room. Everyone's all chummy. It's a great time. I do think that our friendships and bonds will help us. We have the power of friendship on our side, which is something that the stat sheet doesn't show. That's one thing I don't super love about advanced analytics, is they don't actually show the grit maybe that our team has. But we are all linked at the hip. We're going to go out there and we're going to do well. We have a great dynamic in the clubhouse.
I would say that our dynamic is that we win. We've won against this team multiple times. Gene brought up that he's beat me in conference play, and while that might be true, anyone will tell you that in a tournament like this, it's hard to beat a team 4 times, much less 3. We've won where it matters, and I think that bonds us together. We handled the portal pretty well. We only lost 1 to Centerfield Florence. We got 1 on the way back from Centerfield Australia. We're very happy with the acquisition. Maybe we'll get some more back next year. We handle roster turnover very well. We're one of the only teams in this conference that can actually retain, unlike my opponent. I think retention is everything, if we've seen in this year's tournament. And in games prior, that having a roster turnover year to year it will put you ahead, and we've done that. That's all I have to say.
Chief over here. Your last few times playing at Spins Bowling Alley in Poughkeepsie, your score got worse as the games went on. How do you plan to make sure that doesn't happen and the scores actually get better in this tournament?
I made a ball switch in from game 2 to 3 that I wasn't that proud of. Should have stuck with a pearl asymmetric, and a house shot like that, especially with the oil on the left side of the lane. Like, that's untouched. I don't think there's a single lefty bowler tonight other than myself. I could be mistaken. I think it gives me a huge advantage, especially when bowlers like Gene and Arth who can use the oil to their advantage. They're going to have a tough time because there's only a certain amount of shots you can take during a game. I can get acquitted to the lane faster. I think the last few times I was out, this is a very mental game, and I don't think I was mentally focused. I am laser focused tonight. We are going to win.
And with that, I thank the media for all of their questions. Gene, do you have any last-second remarks?
Looking forward to playing Dan. I said it before, he's a competitor, and I said what I said about him, but he is still the absolute shining star of the center field offense. He's just great, fantastic competitor, and I really do look forward to playing with him. I do think that the lane conditions will be a non-factor for us. All the guys in my pen, we're all well equipped to handle some oil spillage that will happen throughout the game. We also like to keep it consistent. We're running a squad rolling out mostly house balls, which will play a factor for us. But yeah, thank you, Dan. This is I do look forward to playing you. And though I said what I said earlier, I have massive respect for you. He's humble. He's great. So looking forward to a nice match one more time.
And Dan, how do you want to close?
I'll acknowledge that Gene is a bowler and he's alive. We're looking forward to showing what this roster can do. Very unprofessional, by the way, for the staff in the back to put strobe lights on during his press conference.
Yeah, I wasn't super thrilled with that myself,
so we can
actually. We can agree on that, yes. That was unprofessional.
Looking forward to tonight.
Absolutely. Now, tonight, that's the game. Tonight at 7 o'clock at the Lanes, center field, Red Fox Report. This is Gene Barbieri, the executive producer of the Red Fox Report. Dan Albach, the editor-in-chief, I guess has to go from center field. Tune in tonight, myself and Derek DeGallo on the call, and we will see you tonight, Red Fox Report, center field bowling. Have a good one.